Hello everyone. النهاردة it's the first class of the Igcse Biology edexcel. And as we all know, it's like a pleasure to study only from one source. However, it's a really bad pleasure. Like, okay, it's nice for you that you think like, my teacher's notes are the best notes. We're just gonna study from them all day long, 24/7, and I'm gonna be an achiever or an A-star student. You can, but it's not gonna be as easy as the person who studies from lots of resources, sees the information in more than one way, and have lots of knowledge from different perspectives and different ways of teaching as well. I don't say that it's a good thing to do before the exam, but it's a good thing to do like before, not before the exam exactly, but before the exam, like 6 months before the exam, 3 months, whatever. So currently, we're gonna start with the book, and then later we're gonna put the notes as usual, and so. But for now, from the book, the a really good thing about this book, pardon, is that first it has like links to for you to go and stuff, but it's not working here currently, and that's a really good thing because I don't like it. However, it shows that we're having only 4 topics. Starting with the first topic, which is about the chemistry for biologists, which is basically what we call by like the biochemistry, right? And this is the chapter we're going to study and explain today, which is 1A. Um, second, okay. Second is the transport, which is the heart in more details, or basically more into like the transportation, and then the heart in more details in 1C, which is this one. Okay, and then for topic 2, membranes, proteins, DNA, and gene expressions, as well as topic third chapter, cells, and the fourth, plants. So without wasting any more time or any time again, this is basically the book, and we're currently gonna go for chapter 1. Okay, this is more into chemistry chapter, or basically chemistry part, because we're going to talk about the ionic and covalent bonds. As you remember, just a quick, really quick revision, that we had something which is important as well. We're having something called cation and something called anion, right? The cation has this T and the anion has those N's, right? So we've discussed before in chemistry classes that the cation is positive and the anion is negative. And I've told you like a way to remember this, which is basically the T looks like the positive sign, or the positive sign, which is the T as well. And the anion, which has double N's, is just like the same as negative, right? It's like N here. Okay. And just to sum up, ionic bonding, basically over here, is that there is bonds but not as covalent. Like covalent is this way, they have sharing ones. Ionic is transforming, like, and there will be an anion and a cation at the very end. Okay, now this is very basic chemistry, which is that biology is the study of living things, but living things contains of chemical substances, and that the basic unit of elements is the atom, and when the atoms of two or more different elements react, they form compound, and an atom is made up of nucleus containing positive protons and neutral neutrons, and that the nucleus is surrounded by negative electrons, as this can be shown in the model of the electrons orbiting around the nucleus in the shells. As you know, there is this nucleus and then there are orbits around it. And we can show that the nucleus is surrounded by negative electrons, of course. And then when an atom has a full outer shell of electrons, 2 for the first shell and 8 for the other shells, it's said to be stable and it does not react anymore, because it does not need to transfer transfer atoms or share it with anyone. It's completely stable now, like the noble gases. Okay, However, most atoms do not have full outer shell of electrons like all other atoms and substances, and in chemical reactions these electrons are involved in changes that give the atom a stable outer shell, either by sharing or by transferring. And there are two ways that can achieve this: either by transferring, which is basically the ionic bonding. As we said, it's either you give or you receive, and this forms the anions and the cations. And as we said, mentioned from like earlier, but I'm gonna add something new right now. We mentioned earlier that the anion is the negative one and the cation is the positive one, right? But how can we actually form this? Like, I mean, anion is negative, cation is positive, right? So, for example, we're having this atom and it's currently positive. What happened? Did it lost? Did it gain to be positive? Basically, we've also explained this before, that the electron is a really bad and negative person. Like, he's really, really, really bad. So whenever he leaves the atom, whenever the electron leaves the atom, like there is an electron over here and it left, the atom becomes positive, becomes happy that this person, negative person, left. So there's like positive impact on the atom. But the electron leaves to another atom, right? So this atom gains an electron and becomes sad because it's just about negative energy. It's always crying, always shouting, always whatever, you know? So all you should like, the summary is that the anion negative because it gained a bad person, a bad electron, and the cation is positive because it lost like the negative energy she had. So she's now really positive and happy about her life, right? Okay. So to read what the book has, it says basically that the ionic bonding is the sorry. The ionic bonding is the atoms involved in the reaction, which is give or receive. As we said, give or lose. Give is lose, gain is receive, okay? One atom or part of the molecule gains one or more electrons and become an anion. So whenever you gain, you become an anion because you become negative. You're having negative person. And the other atom or part of the molecule loses one or more electron, loses the bad one, and becomes a cation, becomes very happy about it. Positive. So the strong forces of attraction called the ionic bonds hold the oppositely charged ions together, because there is that rule that you of course know. Like charges repel, unlike charges attract. Okay? Okay. Now we're what is that? Okay, now we're gonna currently talk about the covalent bonding. Basically, the covalent bonding, as we said, it's sharing, more into sharing and not transferring. It has nothing to do with anions and cations. Basically, the covalent bonding are the atoms involved in the reaction when sharing electrons. When you have an electron over here, an electron over here, atom over here, and there are sharing electrons over here. We used to draw it as OXOX or O dots and X and stuff. Okay? These bonds are very strong, and the molecules are usually neutral. However, in some covalent compounds, the molecules are slightly polarized. What do you mean by polarized? This means that the electrons in the covalent bonds are not quite evenly shared. Consequently, the molecule has a part that is slightly negative and a part that is slightly positive. The separation of charge is called dipole, and the tiny charges are represented as this is the sigma, I guess, positive or sigma negative. The molecule is described as polar molecule, and this polarity is particularly common if the bond involves one or more hydrogen atoms. Okay?